Hello, Jalon, Mustafa, and David. Thank you for being part of the Makpar panel aimed at the C-suite and how we can help view their roles in the context of cybersecurity. We term it Cybersecurity for the C-suite, C4C in short. So thank you again for joining. And before we go further, I'd like each of you to introduce yourself, starting with Jalon.
Well, I'm Jalon Alexander, and I'm a business development associate.
Mustafa.
Hello, I'm Mustafa Lutfi, and I'm a senior security engineer.
David.
I'm Dave Garcia. I'm a senior security specialist.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, again. So let's get directly into the questions. Again, just to be sure, we are talking about policy and how we prioritize, simplify, and execute and assist in that regard with C-suite executives. For my first question, David, at the policy level again, how would you prioritize cybersecurity?
Yeah, a way to prioritize cybersecurity as a CIO is to understand the risk to the organization if cybersecurity is not prioritized. Risks such as damage to reputation, customer trust, lawsuits, or bankruptcies. Understanding this risk can be accomplished by policies that encourage and require cybersecurity education and training. Another tool is to have policies that implement programs that can test your information systems and your controls to identify and document these risks. And that would help you prioritize your cybersecurity throughout your organization and change the culture.
Thank you, David. Now over to you, Mustafa. Again, how, as a C-suite executive, how would you simplify the message?
Well, as David stated earlier, it's really about changing the culture. So you don't really want to be the only person in your organization that understands security. You know, it's kind of a team sport at this point. It's no longer siloed. So you don't just have your security gates at the end of your development or at the end of your monitoring. You need your developers on board coding defensively. You need your testers knowing exactly what they need to test. You need your executives knowing exactly what risks they are going to be incurring and the amount of risk they're able to take. So, you know, you really kind of want to again, as David said, educate your organization so that your people will have a little bit more information on the risks that they have and the risks that actually come from those actions. Now, an example I like to use is the airport. You know, you go through security at the airport, you get patted down for bombs or any type of weapons. You understand that it's annoying, but you also understand that there's a risk, and it's the risk is there to save you and help you. So, you know, at the end of the day, if everyone in your organization understands the risk that is associated with them and the consequences from those risks, then it'll simplify the message to them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mustafa. So in summary, basically work with your team, work with the end users, make them understand the threat surface and work through them to make sure they understand the gravity of the challenge ahead.
Right.
Thank you. So last but not least, Jalon, how should one execute cybersecurity policy?
I think a thorough execution of an effective cybersecurity policy has three components. There is an education and a workforce development component. This is consistent with a lot of what David and Mustafa was just talking about. We also have to make sure that you're implementing a sound methodology that can be imposed throughout the organization. This can be through agile development or a zero trust framework. And finally, you want to make sure that you institute a cybersecurity policy that is both sound and fiscally responsible or gives you the most bang for your buck. And essentially what that means to the CIO is you want to make sure that when you are using systems, whether they be migrating things to the cloud, data warehousing, the sorting of information, prioritizing information, that it's done in a way that is cost effective so that you can do it over the long term. Vulnerabilities occur when there are corners cut in cybersecurity. So making sure that ultimately your policies for implementing or protecting data are secure. You want to make sure that you're continuing to educate your workforce. The workforce is important because, as we know, breaches can be incidental or they can be intentional, and they can come from external forces and internal employees. You're going to have your hands full just trying to deal with protecting and coding cybersecurity defenses and putting in place policies that are made to protect the organization from external actors. So make sure that your work culture and your employees are continuing to be educated, informed on the culture, and are getting certifications to increase their knowledge so that you decrease vulnerabilities. And finally, you want to make sure that you have some sort of an agile development framework or a zero trust framework that promotes security within your organization. Finally, the good news is the federal government is making investments into these things through CISA to protect our cybersecurity community and ultimately the cybersecurity for these different agencies. The Build Better Act is investing $500 million into the infrastructure for cybersecurity. And ultimately, this should help to provide some ideas that can be applied agency-wide to ensure that CIOs have the resources to better protect their cybersecurity infrastructure and ultimately build long-term practices for sustainable protection.
Thank you, Jalon. So basically, you would say use the federal government frameworks and also educate. So thank you very much. So with that said, thank you, gentlemen, for being part of the Makpar panel. Again, these are words of wisdom for cybersecurity, the professionals, the C-suite, entrusted with creating the necessary defenses. Again, how to prioritize, simplify, and execute. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Makpar Cybersecurity Forum. Again, this was Cybersecurity for the C-suite. Makpar offers a wide range of security solutions for the federal government customers.